My stepson felt ashamed of his unusual predicament until I stepped in to guide him. The evening wrapped us in a tender silence, a familiar shroud enveloping our home, holding secrets just out of reach. The refrigerator's soft hum whispered secrets in the quiet kitchen, while the delicate scent of lavender curled through the air, wrapping the space in a bittersweet embrace of longing and peace. Curled up on the couch, I clutched a book in my lap, the soft glow of the evening lamp casting a warm, golden embrace around us. Whispering secrets of a deep concern filled my heart, wanting to protect him. In that brief moment, a hush wrapped around me, a secret treasure hidden within the chaos of our lives. And then he crossed the threshold, heart racing. Julian lingered at the precipice. The hush of the moment, heavy with unspoken desires. My stepson, a presence intertwined with my existence, holds within him the burden of unvoiced tales and concealed emotions. At 18, he towered over me at 6'2", radiating a quiet confidence that made it all too easy to forget he was still just a boy. But tonight, that spark of courage had slipped away like a whisper in the dark. He slipped into the room, hands tucked deep in his hoodie pockets, shoulders hunched as if he wished to disappear from everything that surrounded him. His dark, tousled hair fell into his eyes, and a nervous glance darted around the room before settling on the floor, as if avoiding the weight of unspoken words. "Hey," he whispered, his voice a delicate whisper in the quiet night. I raised my eyes from the pages, setting the book down gently, as if it contained whispers of a love too delicate to unravel. "Hey, Julian. What's happening?" He hesitated, his heart racing as he shifted nervously from one foot to the other, the weight of unspoken feelings pressing down on him. I gestured to the vacant spot on the couch next to me, my voice tinged with the teasing allure. "Of course, please sit down. I hope you feel at ease here, even if it feels a little too close for comfort." He hesitated, a brief shadow of doubt flitting across his features before he finally gave in, sinking into the inviting warmth of the armchair across from me. He ran his fingers through his hair, his gaze deliberately turned away from me, as if the very act of looking could ignite something we both knew we shouldn't feel. I watched him closely, my heart aching with the desire to ease his suffering. Julian, usually the vibrant heart of every gathering, sensed a haunting change within himself tonight, as if unseen forces wrapped around his mind, drawing him into a silence that felt both alluring and forbidden. "Vulnerable. What secrets are you harboring?" I whispered gently. He breathed in sharply, his eyes fixed on the earth below, as if it held the weight of their unspoken desires. "It all centers on her. My girlfriend. We have been discussing the courage of crossing that boundary." I nodded slowly, my expression serene, but my eyes burned with intensity, capturing every fleeting moment. Our connection was a secret flame, flickering with unspoken desires and hidden fears. I had always promised him that he could share his deepest shadows with me, no matter how perilous they seemed. "Okay," I answered, my voice calm, hiding the tempest raging inside me. "What lingers in your mind?" Julian finally met her eyes, his cheeks aflame with a rush of forbidden heat. Uncertainty clung to her heart, a bittersweet ache that whispered secrets in the quiet moments, leaving her yearning for something just out of reach. This is uncharted territory for me. I can't let this moment slip away. A soft smile touched my lips, my heart aching with the deep longing for the young man who had slipped into my life, becoming more precious to me than I ever thought possible. "Julian, that fluttering in your stomach feels like a secret thrill, a whisper of something forbidden and exhilarating. Yet, at the core of it all, it's the bond we share in our stolen moments that makes it all so intoxicating. Take your time, savoring each moment, as you both navigate the delicate dance of unspoken feelings. This journey isn't just about perfection. It's about the thrill of being together, cherishing every stolen moment we share." He nodded, his brow furrowed, a flicker of longing in his eyes as he absorbed my words. But what if she looks away? Her expression shadowed by unspoken hurt. Have I stepped over a boundary? I shouldn't have. I leaned in closer, my voice wrapping around us like a secret, igniting a spark that felt both thrilling and dangerous. In the quiet moments, when the world fades away, that familiar ache of self-doubt creeps in, a shadow that lingers just out of reach. Remember, this path is meant for the two of you, entwined in a delicate dance of hearts. Whisper to her about the lines that keep her safe, but let your curiosity pull you closer, urging her to share the secrets that lie just beyond reach. And if something feels wrong, it's okay to take a moment to breathe. Above all, it's vital that you both feel a spark and are lost in the intensity of the moment. Julian breathed out, a weight lifting from his chest, a relief he hadn't realized he needed. "Thank you, Nina. I never expected to feel this way, caught between what I want and what I shouldn't. I just want it to linger in her heart. You know, your heartfelt worry shows that you're already on the path to something meaningful. Just let yourself be Julian. That's the one thing everyone secretly longs for." He nodded again, a subtle smile flickering at the corners of his mouth. "Thank you, from the depths of my heart. It changes everything. Anytime," I whispered, my heart racing with unspoken feelings. "Just remember, I'm always here for you, ready to listen to whatever you need to share. Is there no judgment?" Julian's soft chuckle broke the silence, a fleeting moment of lightness that momentarily chased away the shadows that clung to him. he felt a wave of relief wash over him. Bittersweet and fleeting. Got it. I won't forget. As our words faded into silence, a tempest of feelings swirled inside me. Julian's heart swelled with a bittersweet pride, a feeling that danced on the edge of something forbidden, revealing the depth of the man he had become. A rush of longing enveloped him, a tender echo of the boy he used to be, now teetering on the edge of a world that felt just out of reach. A rush of longing filled my heart for the bond we shared, a connection that had grown and thrived, yet felt so precarious with each passing moment. Later that night, as I lay in bed, the house wrapped me in a thick silence, the stillness broken only by the soft cadence of my breath, echoing the unspoken longing in my heart. Thoughts of Julian crept in, each memory a whisper of something we could never fully embrace. His heart raced, caught in a whirlwind of unspoken desire. His vulnerability created a tension between us, thick with unexpressed feelings. As he leaned on me and shared secrets that felt too sacred to touch, his vulnerability struck a chord deep within me, a silent plea that ignited something forbidden between us. As I turned onto my side, the cool sheets brushed against my skin, and my thoughts wandered into a realm of longing and unspoken desires. The memory of his flushed cheeks stayed with her, the way his hands trembled, and the soft, trembling sound of his voice wrapped around her heart. It lingered in my thoughts, a bittersweet ache I couldn't shake. A soft, mysterious hum lingered in the air, a tantalizing sound that slipped through my fingers, teasing my heart with its forbidden allure. My fingers traced the curve of my stomach, slowly rising as I imagined him here, just out of reach, filling the space with an electric tension. He stood there, filled with uncertainty and vulnerability, as his eyes met mine, silently begging for the comfort I dared not offer. My breath hitched as my hand moved closer. I offered a reassuring touch to calm him. With my eyes shut tight, I stayed focused on supporting him with patience and care. His hands, shaking with desire, reached for me, a blend of uncertainty and yearning in the air between us. His voice trembled, a ghostly murmur that beckoned my name from the darkness. A shiver coursed through me, my body responding as I lost myself in the forbidden rhythm that wrapped around my senses. A deep ache of longing tugged at my heart, a truth I dared not confront. In the heavy stillness of the room, where silence wrapped around us like a secret, my heart raced with a longing that felt both thrilling and wrong. Julian had cast aside the last whispers of his youth. He was a man, strong yet fragile, cloaked in a veil of raw emotion that stirred something deep within. As a wave of relief washed over me, knowing he felt safe, a troubling worry crossed my mind, fearing for his well-being. What if I could reveal to him my deepest thoughts on love, helping him rebuild his self-confidence and self-respect in the tangled web of our hearts? As the tension broke, I lay there, trembling, my heart pounding fiercely in my chest. Guilt and longing danced in the shadows of my heart. But amidst the turmoil, a forbidden clarity emerged, cutting through the chaos like a whisper of hope. Julian's trust in me was a fragile thread, his need for my strength almost intoxicating. No matter the risks, I would remain by his side, fiercely loyal and unyielding. The next day, while I stood in the kitchen, my knife gliding through the vegetables, the unexpected creak of the front door pierced the silence. A wave of protective instinct rushed through me. I glanced up, my heart racing with hope, waiting for Julian to enter with that familiar, carefree smile, maybe tossing his backpack onto the couch and diving into an animated tale of his day. But fate had other plans. He slipped inside, a shadow of himself, his hoodie pulled low, a fragile barrier against the chaos outside. He looked away, the weight of unspoken words thickening the air around us. He walked by, eyes fixed on the floor, slipping away into the darkness of the hallway. In the quiet that lingered, the soft click of his bedroom door resonated, breaking the hush with a hint of longing. I stood there, heart racing, knife gripped tightly in my hand. My eyes locked on him as he slipped away into the darkness. My heart raced, a desperate urge to reach out and ask if he was all right. Yet, a hidden barrier silenced my words. His face was pale, eyes distant, a quiet plea that this was not the time to delve deeper. The days passed in a hauntingly familiar cadence, each moment heavy with unspoken longing. Every morning, Julian left for university, his lips pressed tight, a storm of unexpressed feelings swirling within him. Each evening, he returned, the air thick with the tension of words that dared not escape. Once he stepped inside, he would disappear into his room, leaving me with nothing but the lingering whispers of music and the gentle hum of his laptop. Still, he remained hidden away, absent from dinner, conversation, and every moment that could have brought them closer. At first, I told myself it was just a passing glance. Teenagers often found themselves lost in turbulent feelings, and maybe he was just navigating through a particularly stormy moment. As the days turned into a week, a haunting feeling tugged at my heart, hinting that something profound and troubling lay beneath the surface. I found myself at his door again, my heart racing as my knuckles tapped softly against the wood, yearning for a moment with him, a simple cup of tea, or a stolen walk through the quiet streets. Yet, every time, he met my gaze with the same heart-wrenching reply. A soft, distant, "Not now, Nina," or "I'm fine," his tone devoid of warmth, deepening the rift that pulled us apart. The weight of his silence convulsed my heart, His magnetic allure and unspoken promise captivated hearts, whispering secrets in the silence between them. Julian had once been a beacon of life, his confidence lighting up every room he entered. Now, he seemed to shrink away, as if he were trying to blend into the shadows, to disappear entirely. One evening, after yet another dinner where Julian stayed hidden in his room, I felt a surge of desperation wash over me. It was time to stop pretending. My heart ached as I saw him like this, so isolated, lost in his own sorrow. I had to find the truth, even if it meant breaking through the walls he built around his heart. As I crept down the shadowy corridor to his door, my heart pounded wildly, each thump resonating in the stillness that enveloped me. My heart pounded as I stood hesitantly outside his door, taking a shaky breath before my fingers brushed against the wood with a soft knock. "Julian," I breathed, my voice a gentle murmur, filled with longing yet unwavering. "Can I come in?" A heavy silence enveloped them, charged with unspoken longing. It's been longing until his hushed voice pierced the stillness. "Absolutely, absolutely." Heart racing, I pushed the door ajar and stepped into the shadows of what lay ahead. The room was cloaked in darkness, the curtains drawn tight. As Julian lay on his bed, staring at the ceiling, his mind adrift in a sea of longing, his eyes drew away as I entered, but the electric tension in his shoulders spoke volumes. He clenched his hands, silently reflecting the turmoil raging within him. I breathed softly, sinking onto the edge of the bed. "Your silence weighs heavily on my heart, and a deep worry consumes me for your safety." He stayed quiet, his gaze fixed on the ceiling, as if the answers he sought were hidden in the shadows above. But then, with a tantalizing slowness, he turned his gaze toward me. His eyes, rimmed with red, carried a haunting sorrow that cut through the silence, leaving my heart heavy with an ache I couldn't ignore. "I'm fine," he murmured, his voice a trembling whisper that lingered in the air, delicate and unsteady. I shook my head, my fingers grazing his arm, yearning for a connection that felt both electric and dangerous. "No way. I can see your true intentions. Whisper to me, Julian." With tenderness, the room hung heavy with silence, pierced only by the distant, relentless ticking of the clock on Julian's nightstand. I sat on the edge of his bed, my fingers grazing the lines of his arm, a heavy silence enveloping us as I held my breath, waiting for him to speak. He lay there, eyes locked on the ceiling, breath shallow and quick, a ghostly pallor creeping over his face, marked by unspoken tension. Finally, he inhaled sharply, his eyes locking onto mine with a mix of longing and fear, his eyes shimmering with unspoken sorrow. Held a depth of anguish that tightened around my heart. "It's foolish," he whispered again, his voice barely piercing the stillness around them. "It's not foolish," I whispered, my fingers clenching around his arm, a spark of urgency igniting between us. "Whatever it is, it's breaking you, and my heart aches to be there for you, Julian. But I can't touch your heart if you hide your hurt from me." He hesitated, his jaw clenched, fighting against the wave of emotions that threatened to break free. His eyes were a storm, a fierce struggle of longing, one side desperate to keep everything hidden, while the other ached for freedom. Finally, he spoke, his voice trembling with unspoken feelings. "It centers on my beloved." We stood at the edge, hearts racing, caught in the moment of everything that could be. I nodded, my expression steady. But my heart whispered a different story of longing and unspoken desires. "Show me the secrets that are about to be unveiled." He swallowed hard, warmth flooding his cheeks as a rush of vulnerability enveloped him. It started with a spark, our lips colliding in a passionate kiss. I gave him a steadying hand to show support, while everything else vanished, leaving just the heady rush of forbidden joy. But then, he hesitated, his cheeks burning with a deeper hue, and I could feel the heavy veil of shame darkening his eyes. But then, what would unfold after that? I whispered gently. He breathed in deeply, his voice quivering as he whispered the words. When she saw me, exposed and vulnerable, her eyes filled with a mix of surprise and something deeper. "I can't do this," she whispered, her voice quivering. And in that moment, she became a statue, caught between desire and fear. A heavy frown tugged at my brow, and a bittersweet ache unfurled in my heart for him. What happened between us? He turned away, his voice barely a whisper. Lost in the heavy stillness around us, she breathed out, her voice trembling, confessing that it was too much to carry. Too heavy to hold? A rush of longing surged within me, my heart tightening at the pain woven through his voice. "Oh, Julian." He shook his head, heat flooding his cheeks as the weight of shame pressed down on him. She whispered of a thrill that ignited my soul, a longing that consumed me. Yet, as time stretched on, her spark dimmed, and the chance faded, leaving an ache for what could have been. His voice trembled with frustration, each word a dagger that drove deep into my chest, leaving me breathless and broken. But then he leaned closer, his voice quivering with a passion that ignited a fire within her. "Now, she's whispering secrets around campus, letting her friends and mine in on our hidden story. Laughter surrounds me, a haunting melody that marks me as flawed, as if a hidden darkness stirs within, murmuring that something is terribly wrong." The words hung heavy between us, charged with an unspoken tension, stirring a deep, protective fire in my heart for him. How could someone be so completely indifferent, so hauntingly cruel? Julian lingered at the precipice, heart racing, as the world around him faded into a blur of longing and uncertainty. You are perfect just as you are, not a flaw in sight. He looked at me, tears brimming in his eyes, and I felt the weight of his doubt hanging in the air between us. Why does it seem so tangible, akin to a concealed mystery awaiting revelation? Why do the whispers linger in every exchange, casting shadows over our moments together? With a heavy sigh, my thoughts twirled in a tumultuous whirl, each word slipping away like a fleeting whisper in the dark. Pay close attention. You possess neither brokenness nor imperfection. You are remarkable and truly unique, unconventional, maybe, but in a way that draws me in like nothing else. And those who deny it are just too lost to see what's right in front of them. His eyes held a storm of uncertainty, but he opted for quietude instead of a clash. He sat up, overwhelmed by a tide of feelings, wiping away tears with the back of his hand. My heart races, caught in a whirlwind of uncertainty. I feel the weight of my choices pressing down. And yet, I stand here, paralyzed by the thrill of the unknown. A wave of confusion washes over me, pulling me into a tempest of doubt. I wrapped my arms around him tightly, pulling him into a desperate embrace that felt both thrilling and wrong. Julian, you don't have to face this battle alone anymore. I'm here, and together we'll uncover the truth, no matter the cost. He grasped my hand, his body trembling slightly, evoking a profound and intense love that was both exhilarating and troubling. He was merely a child, so fragile, and my heart ached at the sight of his suffering. He was just a child, so delicate, and my heart ached to witness his suffering. But a fierce longing ignited in my heart, urging me to stay close to him, to navigate the chaos together, no matter the cost. After what felt like a lifetime, he finally pulled away. His expression softened, but the flicker of anguish lingered in his gaze. My heart is full of unspoken thanks. His words were a whisper, trembling with unspoken feelings. I smiled softly, my fingers brushing against his skin as I tucked a wayward strand of hair behind his ear. It was always Julian, and it felt like a secret we could never reveal. We stood close, the weight of our unsaid feelings pressing down on us. A storm brewing just beneath the surface. I could feel the turmoil in his thoughts, the desperate struggle to grasp the chaos that had swept us both away. Finally, the silence broke apart. What are your thoughts on this? I whispered gently. Tomorrow evening, we'll explore this matter further, and together we'll uncover the secrets that bind us. Won't we? He nodded, a spark of relief dancing in his eyes, as if a hidden burden had been eased, if only for a moment. Got it. Thank you. Nina, it means more than you know. As I slipped out of his room that night, a storm of feelings swirled inside me. My heart ached for the suffering he faced. A longing that felt both beautiful and wrong. Anger bubbled beneath the surface, fueled by the pain others had caused him. A fierce resolve ignited within me, urging me to help him rediscover the light he had lost. Julian held a power that stirred something deep within me, and I was willing to risk everything to awaken it, even if it meant crossing lines we shouldn't. As the sun sank beneath the horizon, my heart raced with the desire to wrap Julian in a cocoon of warmth and comfort, knowing the unspoken boundaries that lingered between us. With a fluttering heart, I prepared his favorite dish, spaghetti, paired with warm garlic bread and a fresh salad. Each bite, a whisper of unspoken feelings. The table was set with care, candles dancing gently, their soft light wrapping the room in a tender warmth that felt almost secretive. As he entered the kitchen, a fleeting softness touched his features, and I caught the tension in his shoulders easing, if only for a heartbeat. It smells incredible, he whispered, his voice a soft caress, laced with a longing that felt almost wrong. I extended a plate toward him, a shy smile dancing on my lips. I attempted to lighten the mood by asking him about his classes and friends, and sharing brief moments from my day, all in an effort to rouse him from his solitude. Slowly, the air shifted around us, and as we finished our meal, Julian let out a soft laugh, his eyes glimmering with a brightness that had been missing for what felt like an eternity. Once dinner had ended, we moved to the living room, the air heavy with unspoken tension. The candles on the table flickered, their soft glow casting shadows that whispered secrets, enveloping the room in a tender, stolen moment. I sank into the sofa, my hand inviting the emptiness beside me, and for a heartbeat, Julian hesitated, caught in a web of unspoken feelings, before finally settling next to me. We talked for what felt like forever, our words flowing easily. But beneath it all, a charged tension hung between us. Electric and unspoken, Julian carried the weight of his past, and I felt the time had arrived to face it together, despite the risks that lingered in the air. Julian, I whispered, turning to lock eyes with him. What do you think about our talk from last night? He stared at his hands, a rush of warmth igniting his cheeks. My heart aches, ensnared in a whirlwind of uncertainty. My heart aches to trust you, to let go of the shadows that linger between us. Yet the hushed murmurs of those around us cling to my thoughts, haunting me with their presence. I nodded, a bittersweet ache blooming in my heart for him. I understand. Yet there are times when the only way to overcome these feelings is to face them head on, to reveal the secrets hidden in the darkness. He gazed at me, his expression a mix of longing and hesitation. What do you mean by that? Taking a deep breath, I chose my words carefully, knowing the weight they carried. Julian, I think it might help if you could show me, not to make things uncomfortable, but to give you the reassurance you crave, to prove that everything is just as it should be. His eyes widened, a flicker of panic igniting across his face. Nina. I reached out, my fingers brushing softly against his arm, a spark igniting between us. He hesitated, heart racing, each breath a whisper of longing, before finally, he surrendered with a hesitant nod. Got it. He stood up, his hands trembling just a bit as they inched toward the waistband of his sweatpants. His eyes held a flicker of fear, a raw vulnerability that twisted my heart with an aching intensity. With trembling hands, he slowly let them fall, a deep flush creeping across his cheeks as a wave of embarrassment enveloped him. In that brief moment, I was completely frozen, caught in a whirlwind of emotions I dared not acknowledge. The weight of it all hung in the air, unspoken yet undeniable. It was more than I ever dared to dream. Yet, that was not the secret that truly ensnared my heart. He lingered in the shadows, a portrait of hesitation, his heart laid bare, as if he awaited the sharp ache of being turned away. Deep inside you lies a secret, a precious gift yearning to be discovered. Hold tightly to the truth of who you are, even if it feels like a secret. He averted his eyes, his hands shaking with a mix of longing and fear. But still, what if it consumes us entirely? What if no one can ever truly understand? I gently cut him off, my voice a blend of strength and tenderness. That can't be true. Finding that one person who understands your true self and ignites a thrilling yet slightly dangerous spark is the central focus. And until that moment comes, there's no shame in exploring the uncharted paths of the heart, even if it means walking alone. He gazed at me, his expression a mix of longing and hesitation. Still, I had already tried that. The plan had crumbled, leaving behind a bittersweet ache in the air. In that brief instant, I hesitated, the gravity of my confession hanging in the air, a secret yearning that felt both thrilling and wrong. Julian, what if we paused for a moment and shared our thoughts? I want to truly grasp what you're feeling. Could I guide you towards the truth? Even if it meant stepping over a boundary. His eyes widened, a storm of emotions swirling just beneath the surface. What I'm struggling to express is, I never wanted to make things complicated between us. I shook my head, my voice steady, a quiet determination igniting within me. You shouldn't be in my heart. Yet here you are, igniting a fire that feels both thrilling and wrong. I'm always here for you. Julian, I will always be drawn to you, regardless of the cost of our longing. He nodded, a flicker of doubt dancing in his eyes, his cheeks still flushed with a deep crimson. I gestured for him to sit next to me again, the atmosphere heavy with unvoiced feelings. As he moved, I couldn't resist letting my fingers gently offering him a reassuring pat on the shoulder, drawing closer with each heartbeat. Just breathe, I murmured, my words a soft caress in the charged silence. This story wraps around your heart, urging you to uncover the depths of your true self, even as shadows linger nearby. The air crackled between us as I reached out. I offered a comforting hand on his shoulder. His breath quickened, and I could see a tempest of feelings flickering in his eyes, a veil of doubt lingering between us, soon replaced by a rush of unspoken relief. Yet beneath it all, a spark of something forbidden flickered, yearning to be revealed. As I moved closer, I felt a shift in him, a softening of the walls he had built. He finally seemed more at ease, a small smile easing the tension. An honest exchange of worries and hopes ignited between us. He finally relaxed, trusting that he was not alone. A tender warmth that wrapped us in a fragile cocoon. He released a quiet sigh, his head falling back against the sofa, and I couldn't help but notice how the tension in his body melted away, like a secret longing finally finding its release. Finally, he discovered his escape. A gentle sigh escaping his lips as he leaned back. Exhausted, yet inexplicably more at ease, I offered him a tissue, my smile soft and reassuring as he brushed away the traces of his pain. Can you feel it? I leaned in close, my breath hitching as I tucked a wayward strand of hair behind his ear. There's no reason to hide your heart, he nodded, his cheeks still warm, but his eyes glimmered with a clarity that felt both thrilling and dangerous. More vivid than they had been in days. Words escaped me, tangled in the whirlwind of my heart. The air crackled with tension, thick with feelings that dared not be voiced. I replied, my voice wrapping around the moment like a tender embrace. Just know, you're not the only one feeling this way. Okay, we'll confront this issue together. Bound by a fierce determination that ignites our hearts, his smile was barely there, a whisper of relief that brushed against the silence between us. The air heavy with what we dared not say. The room wrapped around us, a cocoon of warmth, as the air buzzed with a secret longing for something more. And in that moment, I felt the weight of our secret, a shift that changed everything between us. As we parted ways for the night, A storm of feelings swirled inside me. My heart raced with a mix of admiration and longing for the bravery he had shown. My heart raced as I watched him reclaim the pieces of himself, a bittersweet gratitude blooming within me for the secret connection we shared. Julian. I admired the resilience he was beginning to rediscover within him. The morning light spilled into the kitchen, wrapping the room in a tender glow that felt like a secret promise, hinting at the forbidden moments yet to come. The air was thick with the intoxicating scent of coffee, a bittersweet reminder of stolen moments, while the soft hiss of eggs in the pan whispered secrets meant only for them. I stood at the stove, flipping a slice of toast, my mind tangled in the bittersweet memories of last night, where everything felt both electric and wrong. The air crackled with unspoken feelings, a delicate moment suspended in time, and I held on to the hope that it had given Julian the solace he yearned for. Julian appeared in the kitchen, his hair a messy halo from sleep, the soft fabric of his hoodie hanging just right on his tall figure, a sight that made her heart race with a mix of longing and the thrill of the unspoken. With a flicker of uncertainty in his eyes, he hesitated before pulling out a chair, the wood scraping softly against the floor, as if the sound itself held secrets. He finally sank into the seat at the table, the air thick with unspoken tension. "Morning," I whispered, my heart racing as I placed the steaming plate of eggs and toast before him, our eyes locking for a fleeting moment that felt electric. He looked up, our eyes meeting for a fleeting moment before he turned his attention back to the food, a whisper of something unexpressed hanging in the space between us. I sank into my seat, the warmth of the coffee cup wrapping around my hands like a secret embrace. I couldn't resist the magnetic pull that drew my eyes to him. The silence wrapped around us, thick and stifling, filled with all the confessions we were too afraid to voice. Julian played with his food, the fork's gentle clink against the plate resonating in the heavy silence. As an undeniable tension lingered between them, he nodded, his eyes cast down, a storm of unspoken feelings swirling between them. "Who are you? Really?" "Okay," I whispered, my heart racing. I hesitated, the intensity of the moment enveloping me. I asked Julian, "What happened between us last night?" He paused, his fork hovering just above the plate, and I noticed the delicate blush creeping up his neck. "I just need to know that you're all right," I whispered, my voice a soft touch, yet unwavering. "I understand it was a lot to take in, and I don't want to push you to open up before you're ready. Just know I'm here for you. Always." He placed his fork down slowly, his hands intertwining tightly on the table, a silent tension hanging in the air. His eyes locked onto them, a charged silence enveloping the space as his jaw tightened and relaxed, an unspoken struggle brewing inside him, desperately searching for the words that slipped through his fingers. I'm okay," he finally confessed, his voice a soft murmur, yet brimming with undeniable sincerity. "In truth, I'm more than just okay. Last night was everything I never knew I needed." A fleeting smile brushed my lips, a rush of forbidden relief washing over me. "I'm so relieved, Julian. All I want is for you to fully accept yourself, even if it feels like a secret we can't share." His eyes met mine, a spark igniting in that fleeting moment, a connection that felt both thrilling and dangerous. "Is it possible for us to steal another moment together tonight?" I paused, feeling the weight of his plea tugging at my heart. The air crackled with unspoken feelings, a delicate dance that required careful steps. In his gaze, I felt the heavy truth of what it meant, the deep mark it had left on his soul. "Okay," I whispered, a spark of curiosity dancing in my tone. "However, this time, let's incorporate a sense of concealed truths awaiting discovery." His eyebrow arched, a flicker of something forbidden igniting in his gaze. "Educational," I whispered, my voice trembling with a mix of longing and determination. "I think it would be enlightening to watch a film together that shows how your uniqueness is both normal and special." Julian paused, his cheeks burning with a blush, but I caught the flicker of curiosity dancing in his eyes. "If you think it will make a difference," he murmured, a hint of doubt dancing in his gaze. "It will," I promised, my fingers intertwining with his, a connection that felt both thrilling and forbidden. In the quiet tension, a promise lingered, heavy with unspoken feelings that danced dangerously close to the edge. "Believe in me." The words lingered in my thoughts as I faced my closet, the heaviness of the day wrapping around me like a secret I couldn't share. With Julian gone to university, the silence wrapped around me like a heavy blanket. I stood there, heart racing, torn between choices for the evening, each outfit whispering secrets of what could have been. The night called softly, a secret world where warmth and desire danced together, offering a fleeting moment that would forever echo in the heart. After debating outfits, I chose a comfortable dress and hoped the evening would bring some clarity that hugged my curves, highlighting every tempting detail in a way that felt both thrilling and forbidden. The fabric whispered against her skin, a soft, silky caress that held a charm both delicate and dangerously captivating. Underneath, I chose a delicate set of black lace lingerie, a soft secret that felt both subtle and thrilling, made just for my own delight. I longed to radiate confidence, to set the mood for the night, all while making sure Julian felt comfortable, unburdened by any expectations. As I slipped into the dress, the fabric embraced me, igniting a thrill that felt both exhilarating and wrong. As I caught a glimpse of myself in the mirror, a smile tugged at my lips, a flicker of longing stirring deep inside me. His gaze was a delicate blend of elegance and allure, and I held on to the hope that it might calm Julian's troubled soul. As Julian crossed the threshold that evening, he paused, his eyes meeting mine, a spark of surprise igniting between us. The delicate flush spread across his skin, a secret yearning, and I met it with a soft smile, an unvoiced promise lingering in the air between us. "Hey," I whispered, my hand gesturing toward the sofa, a silent invitation hanging in the air between us. He hesitated, a flicker of doubt in his gaze as he drew closer, his hands revealing his turmoil with their restless dance. As I turned on the movie, the screen ignited, wrapping us in a tender light that felt almost too intimate. We surrendered to the moment. Wrapped in a fragile silence, our gazes locked on the story that dared to unfold before us. As the scene unfolded, I focused on the actors who resembled Julian in stature, revealing that there was nothing unusual or out of place about him. Yet my heart raced with a secret longing. "Look," I whispered, my finger trembling as it hovered over the screen. "There are countless men like you, but none could ever compare. In the right light, it becomes a secret worth cherishing." Julian's eyes locked onto mine, a charged silence enveloping us as the weight of my words hung in the air. As the tension faded, I caught a glimpse of him letting go, a spark of something unspoken igniting in his eyes. A bold flame flickered to life where uncertainty had lingered, and as the film progressed, I felt a change in him. He turned to me, his eyes burning with an intense mix of desire and unspoken questions, drawing me in like a moth to a flame. "Nina," he breathed, his voice a fragile whisper, tinged with doubt. "Do you think we can recreate that fleeting moment? The one frozen in time on the screen?" I paused, my heart pounding, unprepared yet ready for the question that hovered between us. The request lingered, bold and intoxicating, and I felt the heavy pulse of its importance to him. It was a yearning for something more, a deep need to be cherished, and I could almost sense the heat of his longing enveloping me. "Okay," I murmured, my heart racing as I leaned in closer. "But only if you truly mean it." He nodded, his eyes shining with the mix of thrill and longing, as if the air between them crackled with unvoiced dreams. I can't shake this feeling. The screen flickered to life, revealing a forbidden dance, each movement steeped in longing and urgency. The woman glided with an alluring elegance, her act of undressing a moment that felt both captivating and intimately private. From the corner of my eye, I saw Julian, his breath hitching, his gaze fixed with an intensity that sent shivers down my spine, focused on the flickering screen between us. His gaze was laced with a raw vulnerability that pulled at my heartstrings, a mix of curiosity and trepidation that ignited a deep ache within me. I saw this as a turning point for him, a moment filled with hope, understanding, and an undeniable bond. With a quiet resolve, I stood, every step deliberate, mirroring the woman on the screen, my heart racing with unspoken longing. Julian's eyes met mine, a spark of curiosity igniting as I began to move to the seductive beat pulsing from the screen. The dress embraced me, its smooth fabric sharing unspoken promises with each movement, a seductive touch that ignited a fire within. His gaze weighed heavily on me, charged with unspoken desire, but I kept my eyes locked on the flickering screen, letting the electric tension wrap around us like a forbidden secret. With a trembling hand, I slowly unzipped the dress, feeling the weight of the moment hang between us. It slipped away, a gentle touch that lingered on my skin before pooling softly at my feet, leaving a bittersweet ache in its wake. The delicate black lace beneath me whispered secrets, its intricate patterns shimmering softly in the dim glow. Julian's breath hitched, his hands clenching into tight fists at his sides, but the spark of longing in his eyes revealed the conflict raging inside him. I edged nearer, my warmth a quiet solace, inviting him to share the secrets that weighed heavy on his heart. He shivered at my touch, his eyes darting up to meet mine, a spark of something unspoken passing between us. "It's all right," I breathed, my voice a soft caress. Filled with unspoken longing, this story revolves around us. It's a secret path to discover the breathtaking beauty that resides deep within your heart. His heart raced, cheeks flushed with a burning heat. Yet he stood frozen, unable to break the spell that held him there. I leaned in closer, my lips just brushing against his in a gentle kiss, a quiet vow meant to comfort rather than ignite a blaze. He hesitated, his hands hovering for a moment, then finally found their way to my waist, a touch both tender and electric. As I pulled away, his gaze was a storm of feelings. Thankfulness mingled with longing, all wrapped in a haunting doubt that lingered in the space between us. A soft smile tugged at my lips as my fingers grazed the edge of his waistband, a fleeting moment charged with unspoken desire. "Let me help you," I whispered, my voice a tender caress in the darkness. He nodded, his breath catching in a mix of longing and fear, as revealing the vulnerability he kept hidden away. For a brief instant, I paused, taking in his presence, as the heavy tension of his unease filled the air around us. "Julian," I breathed, my fingers grazing his thigh, a fleeting caress that hung in the charged silence around us. "You're perfect just as you are. Every little part of you is beautiful. Truly, you are something beyond the ordinary. He raised his eyes to mine, searching for a hint of hope. And I gave him a soft, reassuring nod. I reassured him with words, helping him feel seen and understood, heart racing at the thrill of the moment. My touch, a delicate whisper of warmth and longing. His breath hitched, a soft moan escaping as desire surged through him, unbidden and undeniable. I moved slowly, my gaze locked on his face, hoping to catch even the slightest hint of doubt that could reveal his hidden feelings. Instead, I beheld sheer bliss, the tension in his body melting away, surrendering to an intoxicating rush of freedom. In an instant, everything changed. Julian far too soon, his body quaking as a raw, desperate sound slipped from his mouth. The air was thick with unspoken words, a forbidden closeness wrapping around us like a secret. I stayed close to him, my fingers softly touching his thigh. While he fought to catch his breath, the silence wrapped around us, thick and suffocating, as if time itself had paused. The room throbbed with a quiet tension. Thick with emotions left unsaid, Julian's cheeks burned, a storm of shock and joy dancing in his eyes. A soft smile flickered on his lips, and when his gaze met mine, a rush of warmth enveloped me, stirring a deep yearning that tightened around my heart. Thank you, Nina. It means more than you know. Words escape me, leaving only a heavy silence in their wake. I can't help but feel this pull, deep and undeniable. Silence enveloped them, thick with the weight of unvoiced desires. I whispered gently, my words wrapped in a fragile warmth. His smile was barely there, but it held a world of relief, as if the burdens he carried were finally lifting, even if just for a moment. In that brief instant, I realized he had never felt so understood, so completely embraced. It was a tiny step, but it felt monumental, and I was determined to guide him through the uncharted path that lay before us. We held on to that moment, the flickering images fading into whispers as the air between us pulsed with an undeniable connection, both thrilling and forbidden. In that charged moment, where silence spoke volumes, our connection intensified, and Julian started to uncover a piece of himself that had been hidden away in darkness. The room was thick with unspoken words. The only sound piercing the silence was the soft, relentless hum of the television, its eerie glow flickering in the shadows. We curled up on the sofa, the air thick with a tension that felt both comforting and thrilling, as if we were on the brink of something we shouldn't be. He gasped for air, his cheeks flushed with a deep crimson, a storm of surprise and a whisper of shame flickering in his eyes. I never saw that coming, he admitted, his voice a fragile whisper, laced with a touch of shame. A quiet laugh slipped from my lips as I brushed a stray lock of hair behind my ear, the moment feeling both tender and charged with unspoken longing. A moment thick with unvoiced desires, electric and aching. It's so easy to see why. Julian, in the midst of something so new and intense, it's only human to feel this way. Don't let it consume you. He nodded, but the flicker of uncertainty in his eyes revealed the turmoil within. This was it. A moment that could change everything. A chance to spark a fire within him and reclaim what he thought was lost. With a quiet breath, I edged nearer, our bodies brushing together, the atmosphere heavy with unvoiced desire. His warmth enveloped my fingers, and I could feel the electric pulse of his tension beneath my touch. You know, I whispered, my voice laced with a playful hint of longing. Sometimes, it's not the time spent together that counts, but the electric moments that linger in the heart. If you're daring enough, we could always continue talking tomorrow. This connection deserves honesty, just you and me. Julian's eyes widened, his breath hitching as he locked his gaze onto mine. Is it really true? I nodded, a fleeting smile teasing the edges of my lips. Is it really true? But eventually, the decision rests solely with you. He hesitated, a brief shadow of doubt flickering across his features as his hands fidgeted nervously in his lap before he finally gave a small nod. I'm ready. Let's explore this together. I edged closer, my fingers brushing softly against his arm, the heat of his skin sending a thrill through me as I leaned in, pressing a delicate kiss to his neck. He quivered under my touch, his breath catching in a frantic dance, and I felt the tension in him begin to melt away. The story revolves around us, drawing us closer in a world where our connection feels both exhilarating and dangerous. I moved closer, my fingers tracing his skin, each touch deliberate and laced with an irresistible longing. I moved past him, each step slow and intentional, feeling the tension rise as he began to awaken again. With a soft, aching sigh, he let go of all restraint, his head falling back against the sofa as desire coursed through him uncontrollably. In that fleeting moment, I clung to every heartbeat, letting the unspoken feelings wrap around us like a secret. Electric embrace, I offered a comforting presence, surrendering to the ache of longing as I placed a supportive hand on his shoulder as he spoke, sliding down his torso, igniting a flame within him that left him quivering with need. Nina lingered at the forest's edge, her heart pounding as the shadows whispered secrets around her. The air crackled with unspoken tension, and she felt the heavy pull of secrets wrapping around her heart. Every rustle of leaves sent a thrill through her, a whisper of secrets hidden just beyond the trees, beckoning her closer to the edge of the forbidden. With a trembling heart, she took a step forward, bracing herself for the secrets that awaited her. He gasped, his voice heavy with desire. I stood at the edge of the precipice, the wind swirling around me, whispering secrets of longing and desire. Below, the churning waves crashed against the jagged rocks, mirroring the tempest of emotions swirling inside me. Every breath hung thick with longing, the air around them crackling with unspoken desires. The world throbbed beneath me, a silent promise that everything was on the brink of transformation. The horizon lay before me, a tempting expanse of what could be, whispering secrets of choices that felt both thrilling and wrong. In that fleeting moment, my heart raced with the weight of the unknown, a thrilling path that dared me to confront my deepest fears and desires. The moment has come to make a move. I leaned back, our eyes meeting, the air crackling with an intensity that felt both thrilling and dangerous. His eyes held a haunting depth, filled with a mix of longing and vulnerability that felt almost dangerous. In that fleeting moment, I understood we were teetering on the edge of a change that could alter everything for us. Do you really feel that way? He nodded, his hands finding their way around my waist, a silent promise hanging in the air between us. Without hesitation, a soft smile touched my lips, but a profound longing stirred deep within my heart for him. With a trembling heart, I gently coaxed him to lie back on the sofa, the air thick with unspoken tension. With a fluttering heart, I gently coaxed him to lie back on the sofa, the air thick with unspoken tension. His hands trembled just enough as they held me, his breath hitching in quick, jagged bursts. As I stepped down, an electric tension surrounded me, heavy with unspoken feelings and the secret connection that had ignited between us. He released a soft groan, his fingers clutching my hips with a desperate urgency, and I held my breath, surrendering to the intoxicating rush of the moment. What happened took me by surprise, igniting feelings I never expected. It danced beyond the surface, threading through unspoken feelings, forging a connection that was deeply intimate and achingly personal. His eyes held a haunting vulnerability, a quiet yearning for something more, something they both knew they shouldn't want. He held me tightly, as if I were his sole refuge in a stormy world. And in that fleeting moment, I realized this connection was far more than just desire. It danced on the fragile edges of trust, the heat of longing, and the deep bond created by a shared understanding of unspoken desires and hidden limits. We danced in a silent harmony, an invisible thread tying us together, the atmosphere heavy with the sound of our shared breaths. Julian's body trembled with a fierce longing, his hands gripping my hips as if afraid to let go. Let go, I whispered, my voice a soft plea, coaxing him to shed the weight of his secrets. He nodded, his eyes drifting closed as he surrendered to the intoxicating rush of feeling. His climax was a jolt of raw energy, his body arching off the sofa in a desperate release. A deep, primal sound spilling from his mouth. I stayed close to him, watching as he finally gave in, sinking onto the cushions, his breaths coming in shaky, desperate waves. We stayed close in the quiet, the air thick with unspoken words, our breaths mingling in a delicate dance of longing. The air was thick with unvoiced feelings, a fragile thread of understanding pulling us closer, exposing a connection neither of us had ever allowed ourselves to dream of. Julian turned to me, his eyes glistening with a mix of longing and unspoken feelings. Thank you, Nina. It means more than you know. Words fail me, and a rush of gratitude floods my heart, deep and consuming. With a soft smile, I brushed a stray lock of hair from his forehead, my fingers lingering just a heartbeat longer as everything else disappeared into the background. There's no need to thank me. I'll always be here for you, Julian, ready to stand by your side, no matter the cost. He nodded, his gaze unwavering, yet filled with a depth of emotion that stirred something within me. In that fleeting moment, I realized he felt genuinely understood, wholly embraced. It was a tiny step, but it felt monumental, and I was determined to guide him through the uncharted path that lay before us. As we parted ways for the night, a storm of feelings swirled inside me. My heart raced with a mix of admiration and something deeper, a thrill that felt both exhilarating and wrong. A rush of warmth enveloped me as I realized he was finding his way back to who he truly was, and an aching gratitude filled my heart for the connection we shared. So profound, yet so precarious. Julian held a strength he didn't yet see, and I was determined to draw that power from him, no matter the cost. The morning light spilled through the kitchen windows, wrapping us in a warm, golden embrace as Julian and I found ourselves at the table, hearts racing with unspoken words. Our steaming mugs of coffee warmed our hands, a quiet moment shared between us, charged with unspoken feelings. The air was thick with unspoken words, the memory of last night lingering like a forbidden secret between us. Julian stirred his coffee, lost in thought, a flicker of longing in his eyes. His gaze was drawn to the swirling depths of the dark liquid, a moment of longing that felt both intoxicating and wrong. He seemed more put together than I had seen in ages, but there was a flicker of something deeper in his eyes, a hint that he was still wrestling with the burden of what had happened between us. What feelings awaken in your heart this morning? I asked, breaking the silence with a gentle caress. He raised his eyes, a subtle smile teasing the edges of his lips. His condition has significantly improved. Last night changed everything. It offered a fleeting comfort. With a nod, my heart raced, a forbidden thrill coursing through me. Joy surged through my veins, a sweet ache I dared not fully embrace, an overwhelming joy that threatened to spill over. He hesitated, his fingers tapping nervously on the mug, a silent battle raging within him, a tempest of emotions raging within him. Nina, I need you to know that my gratitude for everything you've done for me runs deeper than I can express. It's deeper than what happened under the stars. Your presence is a steady flame, flickering softly in the chaos of my world. Your presence has been my secret solace in this tumultuous journey. Without you, I can't imagine how I would have survived this whirlwind of emotions. His words washed over me, overwhelming and intoxicating, leaving a tightness in my throat that I couldn't ignore. Julian, you don't have to thank me. Your happiness is my greatest treasure. He nodded, his gaze heavy with unspoken longing. I get it. But what we've started is anything but straightforward. You've guided me, stood by me, and now what we share has shifted into something profound. Something we both feel but dare not say. And I can't bear to let it slip away. I gasped, my mind a whirlwind of tangled emotions. Julian, we have to face the reality of what this means for us. Last night was a tempest of feelings, drawing us closer in a way that felt both exhilarating and wrong. As dawn breaks, we stand at a fragile juncture, hearts racing with the weight of unspoken truths and the thrill of what this connection might mean for us, even if it feels just out of reach. His gaze captured mine, a fierce intensity flickering in his eyes, as if he were seeking something buried deep within me. The idea of losing what we have is unbearable. Whether it's friendship, guidance, or something more profound that lingers just beneath the surface. The thought of jeopardizing everything fills me with fear. Still, I can't escape the haunting pull of what happened last night. It carried a weight I couldn't bear to overlook. I nodded, my heart aching with a whirlwind of thrilling yet conflicting feelings. My heart whispers, that longing. Last night was a moment neither of us can forget. A spark that ignites something we know we shouldn't explore. We must move slowly, unraveling the delicate threads of our connection, one heartbeat at a time. He hesitated, the tension thick between them, before summoning the bravery to break the silence again. Is it possible for us to maintain this, whatever it may be, without it developing into something undesirable? A soft smile played on my lips as I reached out, my hand brushing lightly against his arm. We can make this work, but it will require a raw honesty and a fierce dedication to sharing our hearts. We must reveal our hidden feelings and longings, exposing the secrets that linger just out of reach. When the weight of our secrets pulls us closer, we must find the strength to stop and reconsider the choices that bind us. He nodded, his gaze intense, a silent promise hanging between them, charged with unspoken longing. Of course, I'll do it for you. Nina, you're everything to me. More than you could ever know. I struggled to keep the tears at bay, the weight of my emotions almost too much to bear. Julian, you mean the world to me, and my heart aches with pride for all you've accomplished. Yet, what we are building here goes beyond simple help. What began as a chance encounter has turned into a delicate dance, our fates entwined in a way that feels both thrilling and dangerous. We stand on the edge, hearts racing, knowing that this challenge binds us in ways we can't fully understand. The risk is immense, but so is the pull between us. He smiled, his eyes glinting with a secret promise that pulled others closer, as if they were irresistibly drawn to something they knew they shouldn't touch. Okay, let's take this leap together. We stood there, hearts racing, the weight of our unsaid feelings crackling between us, a tempest on the verge of erupting. The morning glowed with an unexpected brilliance, buzzing with a tension that whispered of the forbidden. We had crossed a boundary, a moment that simultaneously felt exhilarating and perilous. Yet, my heart raced with a fierce resolve that we would face whatever came next together. Bound by our truth, our compassion, and the undeniable bond that pulled us closer. Finally, Julian stood up, a mix of longing and hesitation in his heart. I really should leave now. There's a class waiting for me. But part of me wants to stay just a little longer. I stood up, my heart racing with the mix of determination and longing. Please, don't let me stand in your way. In that fleeting moment, doubt lingered. Yet he stepped closer, wrapping me in a tender embrace that felt both right and wrong. As he stepped back, his eyes held mine for a moment longer, a fleeting smile playing on his lips before he slipped away, leaving a bittersweet ache in the air. I lingered, breathless, as he slipped away into the glow, his silhouette bathed in the warm embrace of the light that poured from the threshold. In the quiet of the kitchen, I was swept away by memories of the night before, the heavy words lingering in the air, a secret that felt both thrilling and wrong. What we shared went beyond the surface. It deepened in ways I never anticipated. Amidst the chaos of doubts and unspoken feelings, a spark of longing ignited, daring to defy the odds. The morning dawned quietly, both of us weighed down by the intensity of our connection and the thrilling uncertainty of what was to come.